I am back without the puppy. Here we are. So I want to do just a couple things to this to create a more dynamic look of the side shadows. And if you remember when we first divided up our color pencils, there were a few pencils that we deemed neutral. We had black. We had, I had this Tuscan red, which is very dark red. I have a sienna brown, and I have a dark brown. So I'm going to test out some colors that I have here with these neutral colors over it to make it even darker. So if you look at here, if I can make this darker, and especially inside the D, and under the E and inside the J here, just making them look even darker to create more contrast. I think it's going to look much better. So I'm going to bring back my scrap piece of paper here with my color palette that I have to work with. And I'm going to find my Poppy Red, which is the side of the letters. And I know I have like three different neutral colors I'm gonna try. I have a feeling that the red is gonna be the best, since it is basically just a darker value of that. So that could be really good. So I'm gonna start on one edge and work my way over. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks great. So that's gonna create a really nice shadow. If you don't have a darker shade of your color, let's take a look at the brown, just the sienna brown, and see what happens. So that's not bad. So sienna brown. And I also have a dark brown. Don't like that as much. See how this kind of blended into it. I also have black, and I'm just curious because you guys might have black in your range of colors, so let me just try the black too and see how that looks. So let me put down that red again and then take the black over it, and I'm going to go really light. So that's almost like too much contrast, but let's say you only have that. So you put your black down, and then I'm going to go back over it again with the red and see if I can blend it in. So it does blend in a little bit. It's not great. It's not great. So if you do have these other alternatives, the brown or a darker value of that red, I would suggest that. Let's take a look at that on the final. Here we go. Here's my red. So this, inside this J, would really be the darkest. And so I have to apply a lot of pressure to get this pencil to go on here because I put so many layers on it. I'm going to pick and choose where I make it the darkest. Oh, yeah. So see how that really looks like has more dimension, because in reality, if this was a 3D form, that would be the darkest side. And then underneath would, if that's the darkest, and again I'm going to point that pencil right to the edge, and I'm just going to go on one side. And you can see that the pencil's not really performing very well because of so much. I have so many layers on here that it's so waxy, it's really hard to get any kind of value on it. And then I'm going to lighten up the pressure as I get closer to the vanishing point. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, so I'm going to go back in to the E and the D, and now let's think about where that darkest value would be. And actually, it would be here where it's lighter, and I know that gets confusing with the atmospheric perspective. But we talked about how when we have a limited amount of colors, we just want to dull the color as it gets further away from us. So I'm going to stick to that plan And I'm going to add a little bit more value under here. Now when we overlay colors like this over and over again, when it gets waxy, they actually call this burnishing. So I'm burnishing the color together. And I'm going to fade that out. I'm just going to do right underneath. And hear the birds in the background. It's a beautiful day. I haven't gotten out yet. I'm going to go for a walk maybe at sunset. Final steps, filling in the background. This is totally optional. If you want to leave a white background, totally fine. Photograph your work, upload it to Google Classroom to the final assignment. If you want to experiment with adding something else, there are a variety of things you can do. You can add value all the way around. Think about what color you would choose. For me, I'd pick up this yellow again. I like to think about design principles when I'm choosing my color scheme. So repetition of a color, like the stars, I could put the yellow in the background. I always think it might be kind of fun to have the stars kind of like have maybe like a drag of their color, meaning like kind of like they look like they're bursting. So just like we did the other shapes where the perspective lines went all the way to the vanishing point, even though we finished drawing these, I'm going to add perspective lines under the form so it looks like they're shooting up. So I'm doing that with the brightest yellow. Now, of course, I can't do it on this one because it's over another shape, so I'll leave that one. I'm just doing it where there's the white of the paper. Okay, so that's done. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to take that darkest yellow I have and I'm going to go in between. I'm not really lining up with anything. And I'm just going to visually put the pencil in the middle of the two lines that I just drew. So it looks like they're shooting in space. They're like, have a trail of gold. And again, so look, where this yellow line is, this yellow line, I'm going to go right in the middle, put my ruler to the pencil, and then the ruler to the vanishing point, and then draw that line. So again, here's the two lines. Put your pencil in the middle, put your ruler to the pencil, put the ruler to the vanishing point, and then draw that line. And be careful not to draw through anything that has color in it already. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to just I'm going to randomly fill in lines. So for instance, like right in here is very empty, so I'm going to put my pencil in the middle and then I'm going to frame that with the bright yellow. Again, I'm going to put it in the middle of the negative space that's there. And you remember what negative space is. It's where the image isn't. So I think that looks kind of fun. And I have this space here also that I can do. Right in here. I'm just going to keep going. I'm actually just going to visually just choose about the same space here, moving up, and I'm just going to keep alternating the dark and the bright yellow. So you can see how that one's there. Again, it's about, I don't know, either like half your pinky width or about 1/4 of an inch. Doesn't have to be perfectly measured. And I will continue filling that in. Now what I can do, if I don't want to keep picking up and dropping the alternating pencils, I can go twice the width and just keep doing the bright yellow. So that's about 1/2 inch. And now I'm going to switch over to the darker yellow. Put my pencil visually in the middle of the 2 bright yellow lines. Bring the ruler to the pencil. Put the ruler on the vanishing point. So for the bottom one, it's going to act as the horizon line. So I'm going to line up my ruler with the bottom of the piece of paper and then visually just move it up and make sure that it's parallel to the bottom. And then I'm going to draw one line all the way across. And now I need to put in the darker yellow. Okay, fun. And you could really keep going with that background. If you wanted to, you could go in next to the lines and add, you know, a little light shadow underneath each one, make it look even more dimensional. I'll leave that up to you. My great art is never finished. I'm always looking for more things to add to something. It's hard to let it go.